Can you buy alcohol 24 hours a day in Switzerland? Well, the short answer is no, but let's dive into the details of where and when you can purchase alcohol late at night in this alpine nation. Convenience stores and fuel stations are often your best bet for late-night alcohol purchases in Switzerland. Many of these establishments operate late into the night or even around the clock, especially in larger cities like Zurich. In these locations, you can often find alcohol for sale outside of conventional store hours. However, it is important to note that this is usually permitted only as long as local regulations do prohibit it. So while you might have luck at a gas station at PM in one canton, the same might not be true in another. Supermarkets, on the other hand, are generally not an option for late-night alcohol purchases. Most Swiss supermarkets close their doors by 7 or p.m. Some may have extended hours on certain evenings, such as Thursdays, but you won't find them open overnight. This means if you're planning a late-night party, you'll need to stock up earlier in the day or look for alternative options. If you find yourself in a train station late at night, you might think you're in luck. After all, many shops in SPB Swiss Federal Railway stations remain open later than regular stores. However, there's a catch. These shops are required to stop selling alcohol after p.m., even if the shop itself stays open later. So while you might be able to grab a snack or a magazine, that bottle of wine or six-pack of beer will be off limits. For those looking to enjoy a drink out on the town, restaurants and bars are your go-to option. These establishments can serve alcohol late into the night, with some bars in Zurich even staying open until 4 or 5 in the morning. This means you can enjoy a cocktail or a glass of wine well past midnight in many Swiss cities. It is worth noting that there have been proposals for new federal laws that would introduce a nighttime ban on alcohol sales across Switzerland. These proposed restrictions would prohibit retailers from selling alcohol between p.m. and a.m. Additionally, the proposals suggested that pubs and restaurants would be barred from offering alcohol during these hours as well. These rules were being considered as a federal baseline, with individual cantons having the ability to add even stricter conditions if they chose to do so. However, it's important to emphasize that as of now, these proposals have not been implemented nationwide. The situation remains somewhat fluid, with potential changes on the horizon but no concrete nationwide restrictions in place yet. To summarize the current state of late-night alcohol sales in Switzerland, convenience stores and gas stations often sell alcohol late at night, depending on their location and local regulations. Supermarkets are generally not an option, as they're usually closed or have stopped selling alcohol earlier in the evening. Shops and train stations must stop selling alcohol after p.m., even if they remain open for other purchases. Bars and restaurants can serve alcohol until the early morning hours in many cases. In short, while you can't buy alcohol 24 hours a day in Switzerland, you can still purchase it late at night in many places, especially from convenience or gas station shops. However, it is important to note that you won't be able to buy alcohol inside train stations after p.m. And there can be significant variability in regulations from one canton to another. The possibility of a nationwide restriction on alcohol sales from p.m. to a.m. looms on the horizon, but it's not law yet. This means that for now, the availability of late-night alcohol purchases can vary widely depending on where you are in Switzerland. If you are planning a trip to Switzerland or you are a resident looking to understand the rules better, it is always a good idea to check the specific regulations for the canton or city you are in. Different areas may have their own local laws that affect when and where you can buy alcohol. Additionally, the type of alcohol you're looking to purchase can also impact its availability, as some locations may have different rules for beer and wine versus spirits. It is also worth mentioning that while the legal drinking age in Switzerland is 16 for beer and wine and 18 for spirits, this doesn't guarantee 24-hour access to alcohol. The restrictions on nighttime sales apply regardless of age, so even if you're of legal drinking age, you'll still need to plan your purchases around these time limitations. Another interesting point to note is that some major Swiss retailers have their own policies regarding alcohol sales. For example, the Migros supermarket chain, one of the largest in Switzerland, does not sell alcohol at all. This is due to the company's long-standing commitment to promoting public health and social responsibility. So even during regular business hours, you won't find alcoholic beverages on the shelves at Migros stores. The proposed federal law to ban retail alcohol sales between p.m. and a.m. was initially introduced as a measure to combat youth alcohol abuse. This initiative sparked considerable debate in Swiss society. with proponents arguing for its potential health benefits and opponents concerned about personal freedoms and the impact on businesses. While the Swiss Senate supported the ban, the other chamber of parliament opposed it. This disagreement ultimately led to the legislation not being passed at the federal level. As a result, the regulation of late-night alcohol sales has largely been left to individual cantons and municipalities to decide. This decentralized approach to alcohol regulation is quite characteristic of Switzerland's federal system, where cantons often have significant autonomy in setting their own rules and regulations. While this can lead to some confusion for visitors or those moving between different parts of the country, it also allows for local communities to tailor their policies to their specific needs and preferences. In practice, however, you will find that it is generally not possible to buy alcohol in stores after p.m. in most parts of Switzerland. Even in areas without strict local regulations, many retailers have adopted this cutoff time as a standard practice. Some places may have even earlier restrictions, with p.m. being another common cutoff time for alcohol sales. For those planning events or gatherings that might require alcohol purchases, it's always best to plan ahead and make your purchases earlier in the day. This not only ensures you will have what you need, but also helps you avoid any potential disappointment or inconvenience later in the evening. It is also worth remembering that Switzerland's approach to alcohol regulation is part of a broader public health strategy. The country, like many others, seeks to balance the cultural and social aspects of alcohol consumption with efforts to prevent alcohol-related harm and promote responsible drinking habits. In conclusion, while you can't buy alcohol 24 hours a day in Switzerland, the country does offer various options for purchasing alcohol in the evening and night hours, depending on your location and the type of establishment you visit. However, it's always best to be aware of local regulations and plan accordingly, especially if you're in an unfamiliar area. As with many aspects of Swiss life, the key is to be informed, respectful of local customs and laws, and to enjoy responsibly.